McGraw-Hill Ascent Audio presents The Live Enterprise. Create a continuously evolving and learning organization. By Jeff Kavanaugh and Rafi Tarafdar. Narrated by Rowat. Publisher's Note. In this audio edition, you will hear references to figures and tables present in the print and ebook formats of the book. Forward. Nandan Nilekani. Our understanding of how businesses should operate has evolved over the millennia. From the most basic barter systems to high-frequency stock market trading, the complexity of commerce moves inexorably forward and with increasing speed. As a result, business leaders must find new ways of thinking, new frameworks just to keep pace, let alone lead our peers. Combined with the COVID-19 pandemic, the accelerated pace of change, technological, social, and political, demands a new mindset. At Infosys, that new mindset is known as the live enterprise, the model through which all our questions, answers, and decisions can be filtered. The idea is simple, but deceptively so. A business should adopt the most advantageous aspects of a living creature, one that senses and responds instantly to external stimuli. If our hands accidentally touch a hot burner on a stove, the body instinctively jerks that hand away in a fraction of a second. We are already safe before we even realized we were in danger. I got a great deal of experience while leading the Aadhaar initiative in India to provide a unique digital identity to more than 1.25 billion residents, and through the work I did subsequently to help envision UPI, a state-of-the-art payment infrastructure. Both these population-scale platforms are part of the India stack that is bringing presence-less, paperless, and cashless service delivery to over 1 billion people in India. I learned a great deal about driving transformation at scale, speed, and sustainably. When I came back to Infosys in 2017, I wondered, why not apply these learnings on transformation to global enterprises that are also large and complex and need to reinvent themselves to be like the digital natives? And why not start with Infosys to refine and demonstrate the model to the market? The world, both its people and organizations, is bombarded with signals. Signals from markets, governments, and areas in which we never think to look. Those who seek to evolve must understand and react more quickly and accept uncertainty as a constant. Although this approach seems designed to manage the upheaval created by the current global crisis, live enterprise has been a company-wide priority even before this disruption. The origins date back several years earlier, when we realized our clients and our own company needed to be more resilient. Organizations that raised their resilience in the years leading up to 2020 were better positioned for this historic period. Change due to COVID-19 was forced on everyone, even those who benefited most from the status quo. For some companies, survival has been a day-to-day, moment-to-moment effort. No strategy, just hard work. However, most of us realize that work ethic is important, but not enough. Disrupting yourself makes you stronger and better prepared for the disruptions you can't control. In a sense, that's what our company did, not knowing the dangers ahead except for the dangers of standing still. Learning and innovation go hand in hand. The arrogance of success is to think that what you did yesterday will be sufficient for tomorrow. Still, knowing you need to disrupt or be disrupted is easy. We've heard that advice and warning for years. That refrain is now louder than ever. Even the first small step toward self-disruption isn't that hard. It's the first great leap, the all-in commitment that gives organizational leadership a pause. Infosys was a successful Indian firm for its first decade. Starting with economic liberalization in the early 1990s, we purposefully decided to transform into a global company. The alternative was to fade into the background or fade away entirely. A critical component of success is knowing when to challenge yourself and go all out, whether it's as an individual employee or the entire organization. It's especially difficult for established institutions to respond decisively to change. New organizational structures and models provide an opportunity to build these ways of thinking directly into a company's DNA. This approach pushes us to more closely examine important issues, such as stakeholder capitalism and the skills gap. Otherwise, it would be human nature to fall back on approaches that served us well to date, but not necessarily in the future. The human element can hold us back or propel us forward. The most advanced, innovative, and respected companies often have the most impressive digital tools. However, adoption of that technology and decisions about how best to use it flow from people and their mindsets. When we talk about disruptions and swoon over the latest advances, it's easy to lose sight of the fact that humans are at the core of all innovation and are the beating heart of a live enterprise. When used for its highest purpose, technology amplifies and empowers humans rather than replaces them. Imagine an organization where the creativity of a workforce is fully unleashed in the service to achieve audacious goals. Such personal realization requires continuous learning. An organization can't advance if its workforce is standing still. We must be both employer and educator, sharing a parallel journey that isn't always well illuminated. A live enterprise, no matter the size, must also learn from potential competitors and adopt the best practices and features we see in Silicon Valley and other high-tech centers of influence. Infosys and its more than 240,000 employees strive to match the speed and agility of startups, which have set the pace for business and innovation. When these efforts succeed, the result is a networked, collaborative organization with seamless teamwork as a crucial attribute. The best of the organization can be brought to every internal and external interaction. Ideas are a fuel that can be found throughout a live enterprise. True leaders are able to harness the collective ideas, insights, experience, and knowledge found in almost any organization. Those ideas, however, offer little value if they are trapped in bureaucracy and can't reach escape velocity. Established industry giants can no longer afford to take months to make decisions and years to execute them. Companies must rapidly respond to the stimuli around them. If they don't, competitors will. At Infosys, we created this idea of the live enterprise and applied it to ourselves first. Our clients need to know that we believe in what we advocate. Who wants a meal prepared by a chef who wouldn't eat his own cooking, or seek treatment from a doctor who wouldn't follow her own advice? We created a system where repetitive operations are streamlined and automated so our people can focus on the customers, their own teams, and investment in their own learning. We've accelerated our efforts to become a live enterprise, but aren't ready to congratulate ourselves just yet. Live enterprise is a path to travel, not a destination to reach. There is no end point where we become completely resilient, 100% agile, and perfectly intuitive. If we implement this strategy thoroughly, we will always be evolving into a new, better version of ourselves. 1. The Live Enterprise Model. 10 digits. On September 29, 2010, 10 people met in Tembli, a village in the Indian state of Maharashtra, to receive their Aadhaar numbers, the very first in India, perhaps even in the world. Aadhaar is a 12-digit unique number based on an individual's unique biometric details, such as fingerprints and iris scans, plus demographic data such as date of birth and address. Named after the Hindi word for foundation, Aadhaar is managed by the Unique Identification Authority of India, UIDAI, with each user issued a card cross-referenced with their biometric data held in a database. Infosys co-founder Nandan Nilekani stepped away from his highly successful tenure as CEO to launch this audacious Indian moonshot. The original idea behind Aadhaar was simple: better inclusion, to create a centralized system based on a single recognizable ID to replace the former decentralized system, which often left marginalized people struggling to obtain state services and was prey to corruption. Since those first 10 people in Tembli, Aadhaar has become the world's largest biometric ID system, with World Bank chief economist Paul Romer calling it the most sophisticated ID program in the world. Aadhaar now has over 1.2 billion enrolled members and has seeded over 250 additional programs, delivering high-velocity access to government and private sector services. In effect, Aadhaar has become a digital network, shifting the equilibrium of citizen and state at scale. The initiative took only 6 years to reach 1 billion people, from 10 digits, fingers on 2 hands, to 10 digits, 1 billion. This is all the more remarkable because the experts at the Bank for International Settlements concluded that based on current state in 2008, India was predicted to take a full 46 years to get from 20% banking inclusion to 80%. Aadhaar was the first move in the India Stack, the project creating a unified software platform to bring India's population into the digital age. India Stack is a set of application programming interfaces, APIs, that allows governments, businesses, startups, and developers to use a unique digital infrastructure to solve India's hard problems toward presenceless, paperless, and cashless service delivery. These APIs have brought millions of Indians into the formal economy by reducing friction, plus fostered innovation to build products for financial inclusion, healthcare, and educational services at scale. At the same time, Aadhaar costs only $1.16 for each enrollment, the lowest of any ID program in the world. From the government's perspective, they drove a paradigm shift in the way government services are delivered in a transparent, accountable, and leakage-free model, saving the Indian government as much as $12.4 billion in costs annually. How were Aadhaar and India Stack able to make this moonshot leap in enrollment and financial impact in under a decade? The answer is deceptively simple. It was designed to evolve from inception. In essence, it was an exponential decade of progress. Nandan and the other architects of Aadhaar were justifiably proud. Yet as he stepped away from the government service, he wondered, why can't we apply the India Stack learnings in enterprises that are also large, complex, and struggle to make non-linear moves in their systems? The question was very much on Nandan's mind when he came back to Infosys in 2017 as chairman of the board. That is how the India Stack principles mutated from a societal platform and were reapplied in the corporate world as the genesis of live enterprise. Many of the principles proved to be applicable in commercial enterprise, shifting the landscape equilibrium to higher purpose and higher performance. The next big leap. When Nandan returned to Infosys in 2017, it was a similar but different company. While the campuses were still pristine, and the staff completed projects with professionalism and energy, the previous innovative high-growth trajectory had become operationally, asymptotically stale. The employee experience was desktop-centric. Enterprise processes had not leveraged the power of digital native technologies, and open-source adoption was limited. Putting it politely, there were ample opportunities across Infosys to be more agile, responsive, and networked, and to increase the velocity of ideas and innovation. We took a hard look at our own organization, as what had served us phenomenally well for over 3 decades had reached the limits of its effectiveness. Innovation had become more an exercise in optimization and efficiency, not creativity and brand value. After a succession of founder CEOs, it took an external CEO and then return of a charismatic founder to find the courage to change the strategy and enterprise operating model. This change was difficult because the executive team was justifiably proud of their legacy and the economic miracle that propelled Infosys to that point. For the subsequent transformation, senior leadership commitment was critical, to be sure, but there are also specific practices highlighted in this book that actually made it happen and became part of the company culture. This agile startup resilience imperative was not unique to Infosys. As a technology consulting and services firm, Infosys has a first-hand view to the digital transformation journeys of over 1,400 of the largest, most complex enterprises on the planet. These are not trivial commercial arrangements, often strategic, decades-long relationships with multiple active programs at each client. This responsibility requires us to be practical and deliver results in the tight space of moving requirements, shrinking budgets, and a dynamic set of stakeholders. This perspective also provides many data points as we observe, assist, and co-lead in the digital journeys of our clients. Recognizing the need for change, our senior executives tasked a small group of Infosys leaders and external visionaries to brainstorm as to the next potential exponential leap. That spawned more research and experimentation, specifically on the future of experience, cloud, data, artificial intelligence, AI, edge computing, cybersecurity, organizational model, and potential conceptual constructs to aid in the journey. Through that process, the idea emerged that, while the industrial economy was shaped by Adam Smith's invisible hand, we hypothesized that the digital age is constructed by the invisible brain. We then deconstructed what that meant and how to do it. We developed principles that could sit on top of such a brain, how to create zero proximity and conduct simulations. And we drew parallels from the biological brain and how the enterprise can replicate it. We imagined how to leverage the potential of 240,000 people as if they were all connected together as one, and how such an enterprise would be sentient, because that's how human brains function. However, sentience is a state, so we chose live as the theme because it conveys motion and embodies evolution, a journey, not a destination. The India Stack success with identity, electronic credential, and unified payments gave our team the confidence this can be applied within enterprises at scale, and let us reimagine what the next couple of decades would look like for Infosys and industry overall. Traditionally, companies find a solution and then immediately move to replication. They find a problem, pilot in some areas to prove that it works, and then say, "Now let's replicate." At Infosys, we think differently. We also conduct that experimental pilot. We find it works, and then we don't replicate it. We unbundle it. What works in Dallas may not work in Frankfurt. The solution is unbundled in Dallas. Say we find there's one policy, one process, and 3 skills required. Something is moved to the enterprise learning platform. Something goes into the policy framework, and so on. Then it can be rebundled for Frankfurt and see how it works there. This unbundle, rebundle is like the natural world. We call it dolphining, for how dolphins swim in the ocean. Like dolphins, the model keeps going up and down in cycles. Over time, the frequency becomes faster and more efficient because an organization gets better at the unbundle, rebundle, apply approach to improvement and adoption. All of this thinking, principles, and ideas went into conceptualizing the live enterprise. We reimagined Infosys to be an ecosystem of humans and things that are connected with each other through a network that is continually emitting signals and is observed, processed, and acted upon by a digital brain. This brain manages the connective knowledge and ecosystem, learns from each interaction, and drives value exchange in each interaction. This is all designed with a platform mindset, a digital runway for the company. Before developing market offerings, and consequently platform services around these offers, we applied the ideas and technology at Infosys to prove the concept, refine the approach, and show evidence of success. We and our Infosys colleagues experienced all this firsthand during the transformation at Infosys, and through working with clients on their journeys as well. This experience led us to envision and develop a new, non-traditional operating model for the modern era. The case for live enterprise. As we undertook our journey at Infosys, we stayed focused on the fundamental question: How can large, complex enterprises behave like startups with nonlinear moves while maintaining resilience? The research for this book shares the learnings from putting these ideas into practice at Infosys. It also highlights feedback from clients facing similar challenges and extends earlier Infosys research tracking the progress of digital transformation globally. In each of the last few years, the Infosys Knowledge Institute surveyed more than 1,000 respondents from large companies globally about the digital initiatives they adopted. Based on their responses, we categorized companies into low, medium, and high-performance categories. Across the multiple studies, we found that organizations readily moved from the low to medium category, but making the leap to the highest level was far less frequent. Despite investment and management support, these companies reached a digital ceiling. What held these companies back, and what was special about the firms that did reach the next level? What did they do differently? We used our own company as the ultimate laboratory to experiment aggressively, scale efficiently, and adopt with empathy. Our Infosys experience, complemented by client services and our research, has provided an abundance of data points as to what works and what does not. How do we know the live enterprise model works? This approach helped Infosys increase its market valuation from $33 billion to $69 billion, over 100%, in 3 years. Importantly, it provided enterprise resilience during the COVID-19 pandemic, moving 240,000 workers from office to remote work in a matter of days, and actually surpassing previous year financial results in the quarter ending June 2020, in the heart of the global lockdown. Infosys has also helped numerous companies make the transition to digital technologies and resilient, sustained performance. However, this book is not about Infosys. It shares insights and practical recommendations for leaders to improve their own operating model and performance. It also celebrates the emerging stars of the post-COVID digital age, business leaders who evolve their legacy business, as well as visionary stakeholder capitalists who are blazing a trail for environmental and social impact. The promise and peril of the digital future has been forecast for years, from turn-of-the-century dot-com boom and bust through the rise of mobile applications and social media, and more recently through Industry 4.0. What's changed is that exponential technologies like cloud, mobile, AI, open source, and Internet of Things have matured and converged. We are seeing the results of this converged life cycle maturity at the same time that stakeholder capitalism has come of age. The next generation of customers and employees is more than simply aware of sustainability and equality. They demand action from enterprises. Globalism has spurred the rise of the corporate city-state, where large enterprises have additional societal responsibilities, in addition to, or perhaps even because of, their role as generators of financial returns. And of course, the COVID-19 pandemic was the match that lit the tinderbox and dramatically accelerated change. We see this manifested in 7 areas or domains, and traditional and live enterprise perspectives for each are illustrated in Table 1.1. Table 1.1. Evolution of Operating Model Elements. Operating Model Element. Organization. Traditional. From. Command and control. Functional, line of business-based large teams. Physical workplace. Waterfall processes. Technology as enabler. Live enterprise model. 2. Self-organizing work teams. Cross-functional and platform mindset-based small teams. Anytime, anywhere workplace. Distributed agile processes. Technology as strategic differentiator. Operating model element. Experience. Traditional. From. Efficiency. Usability. Limited personalization. One size fits all. Qualitative. Live enterprise model. 2. Effectiveness. Delight. Predictive. Inclusive design. Measurable. Operating model element. Value chain. Traditional. From. distant from input, high latency, offline periodic analysis, periodic surveys, complex process, live enterprise model. 2. Proximity to source, zero latency, instant simulation, instant microfeedback, guided practice. Operating model element, decisions, traditional, from, deterministic, manual, what-if analysis, distributed organizational knowledge, insights for review. Live enterprise model. 2. Stochastic, semi-automated, predictive and prescriptive, connected and curated organizational knowledge, insights to actions. Operating model element. Talent. Traditional, from, cost center, retention, problem solving, instructor-led training, uniskilled. Live enterprise model. 2. Competitive advantage, employee engagement, problem finding, anytime, anywhere, any topic learning, multi-skilled. Operating model element. IT systems. Traditional, from, features and functionality mindset, designed for known requirements, monolithic systems, moderate automation, limited telemetry. Live enterprise model. 2. Platform mindset, designed for evolvability, unbundled services, extreme automation, observable. Operating model element. Change. Traditional, from, program-driven large change, program level, top-down, existing routines, unidirectional. Live enterprise model. 2. Sigma of micro-changes, significant change level, bottom up, building new routines, bidirectional. The very nature of organizations has come under pressure. Hierarchical and even matrix models are simply too static in a world where, much like water follows lower-lying land, real authority and influence cut across traditional silos and evolve frequently based on customer and project needs. Organizations must be able to address many initiatives simultaneously and update structures quickly based on market needs. The way we think about experience has changed. In their lives outside work, employees can ask Alexa for anything, enjoy the conveniences of smart homes, and use a variety of communication apps without having to type emails. Then they come to work and deal with a torrent of emails, struggle with archaic processes and tools, while creating cumbersome manual workarounds. Employees, especially digital natives, count on anytime, anywhere, personalized and predictive experience, whether work occurs in an office building or from home. Value chains have changed. For decades, value chains focused on process effectiveness and product and service delivery, fulfilling value propositions to customers and other beneficiaries. Supply chains delivered goods from source of supply to the end consumer in a high-quality, timely manner. But now enterprises must consider responsive value chains that can be reconfigured quickly for changing business needs, have zero latency, are circular in nature, and are part of an ecosystem. Further, they must address labor practices, worker health, and alternatives in case of sudden supply disruption. While the concepts are not new, the detailed data enable rapid response times that were simply not possible before. Decisions are the triggers of the digital economy, the actions that initiate response and provide its shape and direction. Deterministic rules engines have accelerated decision-making, but more is needed. Like the human mind, which is wired to see patterns, the explosion of data requires new ways to process real-time information in conjunction with insights from past experience to create machine-based intuition and action. Talent has progressed from a cost to be minimized to a source of competitive advantage. The so-called war for talent is actually a talent famine, as broad swaths of in-demand skills are greatly underserved. This also applies to talent sources, which are no longer a small batch of traditional business schools, but entire new talent pools and learning pathways to groom the workforce of...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?